Hi again, everyone. Thank you for joining the Super Speaker Seminars, the 19th series on 29th of February. As always, we have land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land of the OMNI-RÉUNIS network head office is located on York University. Recognize that many indigenous nations have long-standing relations with territories upon which York University campus are located that precede the establishment of York University. York University acknowledges its presence on the traditional territory of many indigenous nations. The area known as the Toronto has been caretaken by Anishbek Nation, the Hudan-So Confederacy, and Huron-Wenta. It is now home to many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis communities. We acknowledge the current territory holders, the Mississaugas of Credit First Nations. The territory is subject of the Dish and Waniston Vampire Convent, an agreement to peacefully share and care for the Great Lakes region. The Super Spreader Seminar Series. The OMNI-RÉUNIS Super Spreader Seminar Series SSS welcomes faculty members, OMNI-RÉUNIS athletes, and high qualified personnel, including postdoctoral researchers and graduate students, to showcase their research, promote their ideas, share their research experiences, and establish connection among the various branches of the network. It is a platform to spread scientific knowledge about the One Health research framework and the research progress of over 30 OMNI-RÉUNIS HQPs within the network scientific research community. These seminars facilitate knowledge exchange within the OMNI-RÉUNIS, the emerging infectious disease modeling network, and collaborating scientific community. Today, we have Yuliya Bodryzlova. Thank you, Yuliya, for accepting our invitation.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. We have Yuliya. Yuliya is holder of MD, MSc, and PhD, has more than 10 years of experience in research on public health, community participation, and intersectoral collaboration for health are among her principal domain of interest. She's going to talk about the data portal for studies for One Health data access, focus group study. This study is done by Yuliya, Elda, Kamal, Jane, and Bouchra. They are going to talk about data portals for health research and about that data portals may have issues with data combinability, completeness, and reliability. Given that data portal on zoonosis assembles data from very different sources, these issues may be multiple. In theory, recent recommendation about the organization of data portals may help to develop a well-functioning One Health data portal. In practice, this recommendation may need some adjustments. The experience of Canadian researchers working in One Health give insight into adjustments needed. Thank you. Let me ask her to share. Let's continue to hear Yuliya. Thank you, Yuliya. Can you please share your slides?
Thank you for invitation. Can I share my screen now?
Yes, for sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. It is visible. Could you please double click to make it full size?
I'm trying to figure out how can I.
The bottom on the corner, the reading mode.
I don't see this.
Oh, you can double click to make it full size. Oh, it is the reader mode.
Excuse me, a second, please.
Sure, take your time.
No, I cannot share my full screen and sharing the screen.
Near the percentage, you have 55%. There is a reading sign, a book sign. If you double click on that, it is here. Yeah, in the below, on the corner of right.
It's Zoom icons. I cannot. I don't know how to.
Exactly. Here there are three signs. The reading book, the two papers beside each other. This one.
Okay. Can you please continue like that?
That works too. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me. Even if I cannot share my full screen, I'm able to present our results of a focus group study on a Canadian data portal on One Health. We all are users of data portals, and we are familiar with the limits and opportunities of data portals. They are an integral part of our research routine, of our research everyday life. And data portals on infection disease are more complex than data portal of health because it includes information of many species, on many vectors, on many local particularities. So before constructing a data portal on One Health, we should know the experiences, expectations, and preoccupations of Canadian researchers. So we invited Canadian researchers working in One Health to participate in a focus group study. We had two focus groups, 120 minutes each. We collected the opinions of 20 participants, researchers and policymakers. We used FAIR, findability, accessibility, interoperability, and reusability framework to analyze our results, and we analyze them from the factist perspective. It means that we analyzed the things that were said and not the things that maybe were meant. So, two independent analysts read the content twice and then classified the narration on themes. And we found four main themes. It's access to data, and credibility of sources, and data quality. They came together. Stewardship and curation of data, difficulties and opportunities in collaboration, and some technical features of the data portal. And minor themes were ethical issues, contextual variables, and finally interoperability, findability, and reusability of the data. The main theme was the access to data, credibility of sources, and data quality. Our participants preferred to use the data from the big data portals issued from big university centers, big university with PI with the scientific reputation. But they underlined that access to data may be difficult, may be too long, that registration form may be too long and take too many time to fill. And the big data portal contained general data with not very specific and narrow data like some data on some rare species or some specific places and limited access to genetic data, raw spatial data, and so on. Also, participants said that smaller research team and smaller research groups could provide an interesting information. But first, this information is difficult to find. And second, there are some doubts about the reliability of the data from small research groups.
Sorry, Yuliya, did you wanted to put your slides in a presentation mode so that we could see it much bolder?
Excuse me?
Yeah, did you wanted to put your slides in a presentation mode?
The bottom is beside the comments on the
Okay,
corner.
please give
On
me
the corner.
like that, okay? I find it
Exactly.
perfect.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, what do they mean about the data quality? For example, different tools have different sensibility and specificity in different species. And these particularities of tools of measurements should be acknowledged in databases, should be presented to avoid bias in analysis. Okay, like a limitation of the data. Second main theme was stewardship and curation. Data users believe to be entitled to deep and detailed information and conversation with data holders on data content. And they believe that data holders could provide them information on alternative data sources. And they should undertake a good data curation. For example, they should delete double data sets. They should keep an integrity of data and metadata. And data users propose to rate data holders and data portals according to their experience, including the communication with data holders. And that research community, data holders and data users together should develop some standards of reporting the data quality in academic publications, like PRISMA guidelines, like STROBE guidelines, and they should make all the effort to implement these reporting standards in practice. And when I say data, it's include metadata as well, because data and metadata was mentioned equally in focus group. Curation is king. Yeah, it's a citation from the participants. When you allow one people to upload data to the portal, then can make some changes and re-upload data to the portal. And finally, users cannot find original data to work with. And data holders should keep the trace of all the changes in the data and keep separately the original data and transformed data to avoid this confusion. It's a station of our participant. Collaborations. The collaboration was discussed in two perspectives. First, mathematicians, modelers, they would like to have an opportunity to collaborate for social science, for anthropologists, for cultural anthropologists, to better understand the context. If the data really tell a story. Second, they mentioned they need to deal with uncertainty. For example, only in the collaboration between modelers and anthropologists, people from the milieu, we can understand if something in the model is finding or is like outliers. Is it the error or is it finding? And finally, there are voices in favor of collaboration in worldwide machine learning communities. Like some part of the portal should be devoted to exchange between machine learning teams worldwide. This is a quotation to illustrate the collaborative work and need for collaboration between modelers, statisticians, mathematicians, and cultural anthropologists for the Ebola in Africa. In this quotation, it avoids on misinterpretation of data received from models and underlines the importance of the participatory aspects in data generation and modeling. Comprehensiveness, data consistency, and good data curation was mentioned as basic technical aspects of data portal. The interface should be clear and concise. The data should be organized in logical and intuitively clear order. There should be the access to raw data, protocols, updates of metadata and archives. There should be the subsection for pods and subsection for pipelines. However, there was no consensus of the need for graphical software, filters, and modeling tools on the data portals. Here we present an opinion of participants who underlines the need of visualization of data before downloading. Like visualization before downloading facilitates the use of data and the choice of proper data for data users, and like the argumentation is solid in favor of visualization of data prior to downloading. The minor themes were the ethical issues. At first, the lack of traces of changes in the data portals, the absence of archives, the difficult access to protocols. It's not only increase limits the data use, it may be seen as a lack of transparency from the data holder, and the access to changes to archives, it's ethical issues for data users. As a second ethical question was the data smugglers and data dragons, and the discussion didn't arrive to consensus, because data smugglers, the people who hold data, and they have no willingness to share them. And data smugglers, the people who use this data off, are the teams without acknowledgement in articles. And data dragons, the people who hold the data and would not share them without being article co-authors. And it's a topic for some kind of guidelines, how the data holders should be acknowledged in its publications. The second minor themes is the contextual variables. They may be needed, for example, for inequity analysis. We should know income, education, ethnicity, maybe belonging to religious minorities, to conduct a quality analysis of inequality. Finally, interoperability, findability, accessibility of the data, it was also a minor issue because data users were more preoccupied with some basic problems like data quality and transparency of the changes in the data. So our discussion that fair frameworks are not enough. Access to data, data reliability, operational stewardship, and collaborations are more important topics for One Health community in Canada. And metadata is a transversal issue, transversal topic. Every time we talk about it, the metadata was included in the discussion. Access, quality, updates, and archives. Collaboration, very important issue as well. And here there is a lot of gray zones. It seems people are not willing to discuss because they're sensible. And the limit of our work that we included Canadian researchers only, and maybe in other part of the world, there may be other topics, other themes, other preoccupations. So that's all here for me. And your questions are welcomed.
Thank you, Yuliya. We all have enjoyed. Thank you for your precise slides, referring the transparency of the data, misclassification and uncertainty, reliability, curation. Among the factors you have mentioned, which one do you think has can be considered the most important one? Of course, it's not so, but which one sounds more important in comparison to other factors?
You know, when we conduct a qualitative study, we should assess verbal and unverbal parts of the discussion. And in unverbal part, there were two things. First, people used the terms, words, they had like difficulty to define. For example, I use the data from the reputable sources. But what are the reputable sources? It's like something meant, but not clearly defined. Yes, for me it's reputable. For you, it's not so. First. Second, there are some gray zones. People are not willing to discuss much. For example, the question of authorships. Who should be an author of publication? Whether data collectors can be the authors of publications or not so. And like sensible topics, it was very people use very vague definitions.
It depends. Yeah.
During discussion, so it's an important sign. We should talk more about it. We should clarify this issue to make people comfortable.
Yeah. Thank you. Is there any comment, suggestion, question? If you are not
No, hold on.
Yes, Professor G.
Yeah, Yuliya, Yuliya.
Yeah.
So who you are working with, huh?
What do you mean, like working with? We cannot discover the personalities of our participants, but it was
No. What I mean, like, so currently, are you a postdoc or you a PhD?
I'm a PhD in public health.
So you work with Elaine or Bouchra?
Bouchra.
Okay. In fact, this is what I want to say. This is important research, because like, especially nowadays, everybody talk about data. You know, that everybody is trying to build dashboard or data portal for different purposes. And you know, this kind of data related issues is really important. So I was listening to what you presented. So this is in fact important. But what I want to say is, we now it's a pity we only have a few people. Of course, like I believe later more people, if they have time, they will watch the seminar, of the recording of your seminar. So anyway, thank you for this presentation. It's very important and interesting.
Thank you very much. I'm here to answer your questions. Like maybe you need some more details about what was said and how it was said, where people were more sure, were more confident in their opinions, where people was less confident.
Right.
For example, they were all pleasant, raw data are needed, and in our publication we will present a list of technical issues to avoid, technical problems like downloading the data in archives, or problems with during downloading.
No, those I think, you know, this is like some kind of course everybody agrees data is important. There are so many data out there, but for different purposes, different people own different data, or different people needs different data. So this is really a big issue about data. So everything now, even people would say data is data economy. So this is so important. But the issue is, for example, because you are part of the OMNI network, you know, so we try to, you know, Elaine and Bouchra, they are leading a data sim, because like, you know, we want to build data portal. The reality is, as I mentioned, there are so many people, so many groups. They claim they are building data portal. So as you mentioned, you know, the interoperability, findability, you know, those kind of detailed issues is one thing. But currently the reality is, usually, for example, you build something before it can be found or used by the needed group, and then this become outdated, not really connected to something like, which is, because this could be important as a really important component, how to integrate pieces together to serve certain purposes, also make it sustainable. Not like, you know, today you build something, you establish something, tomorrow people forget or cannot find it. This is now the bigger issue is over the Canadian landscape about data is, anyway, the good news is Public Health Agency, they establish a branch, you know, from Public Health Agency itself, they think the data is important. But how to, whether the Public Health Agency of Canada will build data portal to collect all the possible data, historical, current, and, you know, simulation of related data. So these are all big issues, but in fact, I'm not an expert. But this is what I can think of now. Currently, it is much needed to some kind of study on national level or topic related, how to build something useful, findable, and sustainable.
Yes, sustainability took part of the discussion. I didn't mention it in the presentation, but the portal will come with the sustainability plan. Yes, how it should be kept, how it will be kept after the end of the, for example, funding. Yeah, how could we keep the access to data after that? It was one of the technical topics, and it will be present in the article about our sustainability plan. It's a part of the portal, so it's, like you said, it's an important topic. Sustainability, findability.
Yes.
I put down everything you said, and we will discuss it in our team to discuss it in the article, in the paper. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Zhu. Thank you, Yuliya. One other question that I always have about data portal is how they are be updated. Yeah. Once we set it up, but how it will be updated?
How often, and was the procedure technicalities?
Yes, in line form.
Ideally, we should have the traces of any changes and dated archive on previous data. And we are going to make it as transparent as possible. Maybe the announcement of updates before updates and description of how it was updated, the data, like this. I put down your question as well, and I will return with it.
Thank you. And one other thing is, would it be possible that, I don't know, some might issue, some governmental issues might arise that some part of the data should be eliminated from the portal data? Would it be okay to eliminate that data without that have some side effect to other parts of data, you know?
It's exactly the same thing I made under ethical questions. Everything should be transparent. And we should have a common discussion on how to avoid these situations. Like, well, it's very important ethical question first.
Yeah, I was concerning about if some parts of data are linked to each other and if, yeah, how they are completely consistent with each other without missing some part of it, but still to have the whole.
Picture.
Thank you very much. That was very interesting.
Thank you. I'm sorry for the difficulties with my presentation at the beginning.
No worries. No,
Yeah, keep working on it. This is really promising.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you don't mind, I will send you a link to the article after the publication.
Okay. That is great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you too. Is there any question or comments? I I think there is no more question and comments. Thank you for sharing the articles. Thank you everybody for joining us. Let's have join together once more 2 weeks later. Thank you, Yuliya, for accepting and presenting here. It was super good. And thank you, everybody. And see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.